This is not a test. Don't expect to be impressed. Put on your life vest. Sit down your armrest. It's time to stray from the grind. Don't take my hand 'cause you'll find no peace of mind. Side quest.
Hi, I am not Drew Hayes, but I would like to invite everyone to this wonderful Authors and Dragons side quest, where I will probably rage at least 3 times within 30 minutes. Joining me tonight are the lovely guys who are normally here, aka, well, which one of you is Rick Gualtieri and which one of you is Robert Bevan? I can't tell you apart.
I'm not Drew Hayes.
You're not invited to the show anymore.
You say that, but who fills in whenever a geek
You
is
had
required?
one opportunity to lead us into this podcast, and he used it to try and destroy Rick. I respect that.
Well, yeah. Wouldn't
Yeah, I
you?
have repeatedly. I still haven't pronounced Rick's name correctly. It's been 5 years.
I mean, what is it? It's a gual. What is a gual? And is it Terry? I just say Gualtieri really fast and hope it's close to being right.
I like to think in China they call the Great Wall a gual.
No, they don't. They call it a Bevan. That's why you get confused.
We don't have any Chinese people on the podcast today, so we can't possibly verify that. So I'm going to assume that Rick is entirely correct.
When in doubt, always assume Rick is correct.
I know I do.
But
That's the exact...
But enough about
about
me.
her.
Sorry,
Harassing
but that
Rick.
is the exact opposite ethos in which we have built this podcast.
What? Harassing Rick is the exact opposite?
No, we just assume Rick isn't correct. That's the whole Silas Kane
Yeah,
bit.
exactly. For the 5 people and Bob who haven't seen it yet, there is
Well,
There
I
is the
think
Book of
I
Boba
speak
Fett.
for all Chinese people when I say... Never mind.
Do it. Do what you're gonna do.
Don't.
Let's fucking tank this podcast.
I'll get Emily on here and she will hush you all up.
No, she wants
will.
to see it burn too. I can see her in her eyes.
Okay,
I
that
was
is-
counting on you guys to stop me before I continued.
I want one person to come back and be like, yeah, I went to China and I stopped to see the gual.
You realize now that I'm going to have to look up what wall is in, like, Mandarin Chinese
You don't
before
need to,
we
I
can
just told
continue.
you.
I find your lack of faith disturbing, Rachel.
It's Rick. What do you expect? It's,
What?
That's
Why
Mandarin
okay,
for wall?
I apologize for
That's a hell of a coincidence.
every person in China for this, but it looks like it's Chiang, so it is not Gual.
I'm not sure how many Chinese listeners we've got, but I don't want to alienate them. And we're on the verge of going down that alleyway, and I don't think I can stop us. So why don't we move on to our bonus action?
I was about to say, let's do the bonus action and deal with the pain of all the word nerds like myself. How many of y'all play Wordle?
I don't know what Wordle is.
Yeah, I've
don't
How
never
can
care
you
what
not
Wordle
know
is.
what Wordle is?
Sounds like a fucking Pokemon.
It is not a Pokemon, trust
I
me.
used to play that Words with Friends game. I don't have any friends anymore, so...
I'm old school, you know. It's Scrabble. But I'm the same way with Bob. I don't have any friends anymore, and Scrabble by yourself was boring.
Words with friends sounds like something you do before they make a horrible mistake when they're drunk.
Or it could, well, never mind. I was thinking of something else you could do with your tongue, but I'm a lady and I won't say anymore.
Yeah, Wordle sounds like a nerd Pokemon. I choose you, Wordle. I'm too busy studying at the library.
It's the only Pokemon that can speak and everyone hates it. Yeah.
No, that would be Meowth, okay? Like, look, if we're gonna geek out,
Oh,
okay,
Meowth is a
Meowth
fluke.
can.
He's a Mewtwo.
Well, actually, Mewtwo can too, so maybe it's just a
Only because of his
cat
psychic powers.
Pokemon
It's
thing.
because he's awesome, not because he's a geek. Mewtwo, like,
I love
lifts with
Mewtwo.
his mind. That's why he can speak.
He is pretty awesome. And you're talking to the girl who has, like, 6 Mewtwo's and a highly trained attack team in Pokemon Go. If you want to start down the Pokemon rabbit hole, I am here. And I know that there are listeners who are Pogo fans, and I will raid with any one of you. So hit me up.
Wordle is the Pokemon who just corrects you when you use a semicolon wrong.
We're really building up to this Wordle talk. I hope it lives up to the hype.
So for those of you who don't play Wordle, it's a game where you have to guess a 5-letter word. If you get a letter that's in the word that's in the wrong place, it's yellow. And if you get the letter in the word in the right place, it's green. And if it's not in the word at all, it's gray. And you have 6 guesses to try and get the correct word. And the other day it was moist, and every woman who played went a collective ew. And everyone who heard people say that instantly guessed what the word was in one. But yeah, it's just it's really fun. You can only play it once a day, but you can share it really easily to social media. So Twitter is just full of all these posts of Wordle with the little yellow and green and gray squares, and it kind of looks like the Imperial insignia.
Wordle, I choose you. Actually, no, never mind.
Today's word is stupid. Oh wait, that's 6 letters.
Yeah, that doesn't work. It was proxy one time, and I heard everyone groaning, and it's like, you get to feel very elitist when you get the word and people around you don't. And everyone knows that nothing makes me feel better than mocking other people, especially named Rick.
So, all right, there's
that makes me moist.
Oh, as I shrivel into a prune.
Wait,
here.
this is red meat for our listeners. This is what I come here for. A moist bevan.
Yes, they come here for moist prunes and Rachel shriveling. Totally.
So now that you've indeed endeared us to the concept of Wordle,
it's about to be ruined.
Yeah, what is ruining it?
Okay, so the best thing about this game, there are no ads. It is totally free. You literally go to just a website and you can just click it on your phone, and it's innocent and harmless, and the New York motherfucking Times bought it. And they said it's free for now. And everyone's like, so how long before ads show up?
Oh, I see.
That's what we want to know.
Oh no, not even ads. Oh, let me go to world.com. It's, if you would like to continue, buy a New York Times subscription.
Yeah, because they won't even let you get a recipe for cornbread without being behind a paywall, and I'm still bitter about that.
I don't want New York Times cornbread. Fuck them.
Well, I was using it as a generic example. I don't want New York Times cornbread either.
I want some toothless person at a trailer park. That's authentic cornbread.
I need
New
to
York
make my
City.
cornbread for you.
Get a rope.
Mind you, that person I'm getting cornbread from is probably not playing Wordle.
Wordle
Playing
with
Yodel.
People?
Playing Yokel.
Oh yes, Yokel. There is actually there's Absurdle, which is an 8-letter repeating one, which is even harder. And there is a dirty Wordle site where it's all rude words, apparently. Which is, I'm sure, the version you would be much more.
They shouldn't call it Loodle. They should.
Loodle.
If it's all like dirty words and porn terms, that should be Squirtle.
Poor Squirtle. I do feel bad for that Pokemon because he has a genuinely filthy name, and you get a Squirtle and a Licky Licky in a party, and you're trolling your opponent.
Squirtle, I choose you. And he's like, wait, there are no enemies there. And he just turns around and his trainer's just masturbating.
No, we choose Licky Licky for that, let's be real.
I can only imagine how dates between Pokemon players go. It's how was your date last night? She was a real Squirtle.
Oh, God.
Nah, she was a Bulbasaur, let's be real. I can do Pokemon all night long, guys. You're playing in my field, all right? Trust me.
So you can do Pokemon all night long. Okay.
What do you think Mr. Mime is for?
I can make a Bulbasaur joke. That's easy. There are 2.
Of course.
I can do Pokemon for about 15 seconds. Then I Squirtle.
We need to find you Cloyster. I think just look up a Cloyster, Bob, and your life will be forever changed.
I have porn already.
A cloister Bob.
Pokemon porn. There is a vast array of Pokemon porn, I won't lie, which has nothing to do with Wordle, but it's highly entertaining.
I introduced my Dickachew to her Licky Lick.
Yeah. Licky is an actual Pokemon, which people think is bad. It's the evolution of Licky Tongue, and if you look up Licky Tongue is very nice. Like, if you're going to keep a Pokemon, that's probably the one that you would want.
Yeah, if you're going to entrap an animal, you should definitely fuck it.
Only if it's consenting, because we do that here, okay, guys?
See that should be your next evolution of Brandon. Instead of punching one of every animal, I have to fuck one of every animal.
Look, I hate to break this for 100% of our listenership who's totally into fucking Pokemons, but the only Pokemons that can consent are Meowth and Mewtwo. So put that down.
What about Mew? Mew is psychic as well.
Does it just say its name, or does it actually talk? This is
Depends
important,
on which
Rachel.
anime you're watching.
Is everyone nude in the anime you're talking about?
Not that particular anime.
Team Red Rocket is here.
Oh,
Blasting
God.
off again!
Why do I have a feeling, if I didn't think I would be sued within an inch of my life by the Pokemon Company, I would do my next girl Shingles book in that universe and have the worst ever Pokemon. But you have to make it different enough that they can't sue you, because their lawyers are vicious.
Then do it. Make it different enough. Just different
enough.
Oh, great. I just need help finding every damn dirty Pokemon that's not a Pokemon out there.
It's like, do you have your Benoit ball to get your Dickymon?
Cockatoo.
Cockatoo. Yeah.
Dicky Licky.
Dicky Licky.
Bulbasaur.
That's not as much fun for me. Where's,
Balls are sore.
We're practically writing this for you, Rachel. We're doing your job for you.
Meowth.
Well, good, as it should, because I'm running things tonight, bitches.
Oh, come on. I said Meowth. That's great.
MILF. MILF is actually a good one. Although there is a cow
Fucking
Pokemon
ingrates.
that's
Just
Militang.
keep that normal. Just call it a cow. So is a Pokemon? No, it's just a cow I'm fucking.
No, that would be like Bob's version. It's just a bunch of kids around a trailer park with like rabid animals and just throwing things at them.
Yeah, but in Bob's case, it probably wouldn't be a Pokemon parody. It's probably just a regular Shingles.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Gotta fuck them all.
Oh, what if Bob wrote it? It would be a bunch of furries going around trapping children in balls.
Oh my god. As the DM tonight, I think I'm going to consider this bonus action complete.
Wait, did we?
And we should move on to our main event.
Did we discuss the fate of Wordle? It seems like we just.
Oh yeah, the
talked
New
a
York
lot
Times
about
bought it.
fucking
It's gonna
animals.
suck. People are raging. We got distracted by Pokemon porn. I think we've covered everything, haven't we?
I don't know.
There's-
Do any of you care?
No,
No.
Be real.
Not at all.
Would you rather talk about Boba Fett?
not really.
What would you like to talk about, Bob? Since we're having a chat.
I'm just here.
You're just here? But you told me you had an amazing in-depth opinion, so
I was lying.
I'm waiting with bated. You lied to me?
All right, so the Book of Boba Fett, and I'm just
We
gonna
made
warn,
Rick take on his daddy voice.
I'm just going to warn folks now, and since we're starting this, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't watched up till recent, well, I mean,
Just let us
I'm not
spoil
sure.
it for you. It's fine.
Look,
It's fine.
you're online. It's already been spoiled for you. So
Yeah,
shut
yeah.
up. Don't
But
complain.
yeah, definitely, if you have not seen the Book of Boba Fett, this is your fair warning. We will be discussing up through episode 6. So if you don't want to be spoiled, go play Pokemon or play Wordle.
I thought you were
Check
going
it
to
out.
say if you haven't seen the Book of Boba Fett, then you're lucky. The memory of Boba Fett, the badass bounty hunter, has not been ruined for you.
That's coming up. We're getting there.
I'll
I'm
get
just
there.
giving the spoiler warning. Okay, I think they've had enough time. What the fuck, guys? How did they make Boba Fett? And I know characters can grow and change.
I already know the
And
answer
maybe-
to this.
And maybe it's just yes, I get that he was effectively his whole mystery. As soon as you started unraveling the mystery, no matter what, some people would be unhappy. But he's awfully chatty and compassionate for a dude who killed for the Empire.
Well, let's deconstruct that. Book of Boba Fett has started. Here's the story of the enigmatic bounty hunter Boba Fett, who was not on screen very much, but just looked cool, so people projected a lot of cool fantasies on him. Now he is revived, not died humiliatingly in the Sarlacc, as we are led to believe in the Return of the Jedi, but survived to go on to do what? And here's where I guess some of the disappointment starts. I will preface this by saying, you know what? It's all right. It's fine. It's good. It's not a terrible program. I think we've all become a little bit spoiled by living in the golden age of television. It's fun. Did they ruin Boba Fett? I have my conclusion on this. Would you like me to preface the discussion with my conclusion?
Please do.
Please preface away.
The thing is, we already had a perfect Boba Fett resurrection, and it was called The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian did everything that you would have wanted to do with Boba Fett. You had a badass, stoic bounty hunter with a mysterious tie to the Mandalorians, who, if you're not into the deep lore, were just kind of this cool guys in armor. It had all the world building surrounding it. It had a character arc where he dropped his mystery to reveal hidden sensitivity. It already happened. It was just a different Mandalorian. So you can't do that again with Boba Fett. So they had to do something different. They tried to do Boba Fett overtakes the criminal underworld of the Star Wars universe, which is the most... everyone says Return of the Jedi is the worst Star Wars movie of the three relevant Star Wars movies. They're correct, except for the first 40 minutes, which is the best Star Wars movie.
Oh, I do like the first 40 minutes. I always thought the Hutts were very well done.
So I was interested in seeing them explore the Tatooine criminal underworld and the vacuum of power left by the now exploded Jabba the Hutt. But what we would have been talking about there is some kind of Star Wars Goodfellas, which probably wouldn't have been that appropriate for 8-year-olds. So they've done something else, and then they abandoned it halfway through to give us the much more interesting The Mandalorian.
See, I disagree, because, I think I remember 8-year-old me watching. I think 8-year-olds can handle a lot. Honestly, if every episode just ended with, us backing up and Boba Fett's just putting another body frozen in carbonite on his wall, that would have been badass as hell. Instead, I have likened the first four episodes of Boba Fett to an extended Final Fantasy side quest.
Yeah.
It does feel like it.
Hello, you owe me tribute. Well, I will pay you your tribute, but first you must deliver these chocobo feathers over to the Jawas, and then get this from them and deliver it to Mos Eisley. Okay, I will do so. Instead of being fuck you, blast her to the face.
And I'm okay with growth, but can we address the elephant in the room? Which is going to be very ironic considering I am known for the bantha in the room.
Keep
my bad.
It on theme.
I know I tell stories linearly. I know that I tell stories with flashbacks. I am known for this. So the fact that even I'm complaining about the story structure, I have no problem with stories told with a present and a flashback, but only if they're told with balance and purpose and the whole point seems to relate. There's just, we've bitched and moaned a lot about pacing in TV shows and movies lately, but this is the poster child for bad pacing. Inconsistent pacing. It's I don't care if they're going to tell the story. I want them to tell the Boba Fett story, and here's the big spoiler. After 4 episodes, it's okay, we're going to watch the story of Boba Fett. It might be a little slow, we might not like it, but we're going to get it. Hold on a minute, we're gonna cut and see Din Djarin's storyline all of a sudden, and damn, it was told beautifully, it was gorgeous, and all of a sudden you go Boba who in a show named after Boba Fett.
There's also the problem that, apparently somebody at Disney for those first 4 episodes said, what are characters that nobody has ever asked to learn more about? the Tusken Raiders. Why don't we focus a lot on them and them just like looking into the camera going,
I don't mind. That was actually my favorite part of Boba Fett's story. I thought, okay, they're going to take an actual, indigenous actor. They're going to make it part of a story. This is going to be cool. And then they fucking fridged them. And that's when I got mad. Because I thought
I'm glad they fridged them because they were boring as fuck.
I didn't think so. Anything that sticks a lizard in your brain, I'm on board. Okay?
You're my best friend, sand person.
You sound like a seal fucking a donkey, Rick.
Which is how the sand people...
Yeah. It's a perfect representation
Valid.
of a Jawa watching a sand person fuck a bantha. So
It's okay. We learned that Jawas date humans from time to time on the show, which I found strangely fascinating.
Oh, you would. That's some Tumblr Easter shit. It's like, whoever looked at a Jawa and went, I wonder what I like to fuck.
If you look at the internet, I'm pretty sure some people look at a can of baked beans on toast and think, that's my dream right
I'm
there.
almost completely sure of that, but I think they should remain in their subculture.
Yeah, I am not going to Google Jawa sex because I know what I will find.
You will find some.
Take the beans out of the can before you put it on toast and fuck it.
Oh, look at Mr. Classy.
Well, wouldn't
here.
it be easier to fuck beans in the can, though? Like, you would have, like, a support wall? Like, or do you put them between two slices
Maybe
of
it's
bread?
different for women. Maybe you like the girth of the can. I don't know.
No, I wasn't thinking the girth of the can. I was thinking inserting something into the can would be easier. Or,
That
but
sounds
then
really
again,
painful.
if you had a sharp edge, ooh.
Would you stop woman-splaining bean fucking to us men?
The beans make the toast nice and soggy so you can wrap it around.
Oh, that's how it works. Now we've answered the important questions. So just as Wordle goes to Pokemon fucking, Boba Fett goes to slogging your schlong and beans. This is the way the night is.
This is the way.
Well, I mean, you're out there in the desert, surrounded by sand people, and like every time they go in their tent, they're and like eventually you're just gonna be like, oh, just give me those beans and toast.
The erotic adventures of Boba Fett. There I was.
That does make you
lost
wonder,
in the desert
though. Like,
again, with nothing but
the
a
sand-
can of beans and a toaster.
It would be great. It would be great if we got into like the fetishes of Boba Fett. It turns out that back in the tank he sleeps in every night is just filled with piss.
how did I get signed up for this again? I need to talk to my agent.
You volunteered, you fool.
Oh yeah, I did, didn't I? Anyway, I mean,
I'm almost certain you steered us onto Pokemon fucking, and then we're not coming back from that downward spiral.
Okay, I will accept this. As is my penance. We have now established the ground rules of bean fuckery. Back to Boba Fett.
Yeah, I thought you're talking about stodgy pace, and it definitely was stodgy pace. I think the directing was
Glacial.
Stodgy as well. And I think, as much as I think the character has kind of a cool voice, I don't know, I think maybe they should have cast someone a little bit younger and a little bit more action orientated in that role. I think that would have helped.
So someone who can speak more than 3 words in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I've read an interview of the actor, and he was like, you know what? Boba Fett shouldn't be talking this much. And I'm like, you're right, and he shouldn't be taking his helmet off that much. But
oh God, no!
We've already done that.
Yeah, yeah. The whole point of I got my badass cool helmet on. Then stop taking it off. We like you with the helmet on.
I know your position on this, Rick. I know your position on superheroes doing it as well, and I agree with you for the most part. I know in Hollywood movies, Spider-Man's got to take off his mask so you can see his emotions and all that shit.
Oh dear, emotions.
No, this is Boba Fett. Boba Fett shouldn't be having emotions that you can see. But the thing is, the Mandalorian already did that perfectly because he never took his helmet off. But you could hear when he was having an emotion he didn't want to talk about, and as a man, you resonated with it deeply.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll nod and smile at that one.
Don't mansplain my helmet emotions to me.
I'm gonna womansplain helmets.
But but that was the problem. They'd already done that perfectly.
And
I'd say
I
with
do
The
get
Mandalorian.
that. But there are ways they could have been different, and they had some exciting ideas. Like I said, the idea of having, a Maori actor getting to an indigenous storyline, they could have actually had a bit of interest there, and they still fridged them, and I'm still angry. Like, really angry about that, because it's the most trite damn storyline that's been done over and over. And it's like, if they're already going to be different, could they be different about some stuff that matters?
Yeah, what I would have really liked to have seen would be a failed redemption arc where Boba Fett's like, I want to try to be better, and he just realizes he can't, and as a result, it just makes him worse. And I understand this is Disney, we're not going to get that, but that would be a hell of a lot more interesting and play into the whole mythos of Boba Fett as opposed to what we got. And again, it's like I like the actors, I like a lot of things about it. It's just that the whole doesn't work.
Do you know what it feels like, Rick? You know how, like, when we're talking about our books and we start hopping between like 5 storylines at once, and it's just like us telling about our cool ideas, but we're brainstorming and we're completely shooting the shit. This show feels like a bunch of the creators talking about the cool shit they want to do and showing you a bit of it and then skipping to the next cool part without bothering to tell the whole story.
Yeah, except there's like a lawyer there who every cool idea they have is like changes to making sure that it's G-rated.
I wonder if there was some contractual obligation at the start of this that they had to bring back Boba Fett, and Jon Favreau didn't actually want to do that very much. Which, because, let's be real, and I hesitate to call it geek culture and I hesitate to call it nerd culture, because at this point, and for many years now, it's entirely mainstream. The words nerd and geek are fucking meaningless at this point. No one has to suffer for liking what millions of people like and what is being spoon-fed to us on a daily basis. So, but I will say, when it comes to establishing that mainstream geek culture, Jon Favreau was right there at the beginning. He knows what he's doing, but he's also tied to a big money-making, mouse-dominated corporation. So, I don't know. I interviewed Jeremy Bulloch once, one of the guys who played the original Boba Fett.
Oh, he's so amazing with just fans. I mean, he was beloved.
Oh, he was a lovely guy. Really, really appreciated his place in the fandom. He used to do a lot of charity work with it. And he always said, it's like, oh, it's always a shame that they didn't bring Boba Fett back. It's like, yeah, you and every other child who grew up with Return of the Jedi, mate. But so obviously people wanted it. Even though when you think about it, Boba Fett from the movies is entirely just a placeholder character. He's just there to look cool.
Yeah.
And he looks really cool.
When you think about Star Wars, it's filled with things like that. Little fascinating characters that stay with you. I love the Gamorrean guards. I was so psyched when they came back. I was like, yeah, it's the pig guards. I love these guys. They don't really do anything except die. And, that's the same with Boba Fett. But George Lucas had this really cool way of just going through his junk drawer and making these super memorable side characters that made you fantasize about the Star Wars world without ever committing to explaining it. And I think Jon Favreau's done a really good job of taking this world that, as soon as you examine it as a sci-fi concept, falls apart really quickly.
Yeah.
And just bringing to life the cool aspects of it.
But you don't care when it's right. Like, I will say that The Mandalorian, like the first 2 seasons, it was so sort of smooth and polished, and not every beat hit, but it always had that cool, consistent, like, it was entertaining. Even at its worst, it was still pretty damn good. And when it was at its best, you were breathless.
The Star Wars universe, the movies that count, always felt really lived in, really occupied, but never really kind of contextualized.
I know what you're about to say.
No, I think Jon Favreau did a really good job of just slowly expanding that so it feels still lived in, but never kind of doing that Stephen King Dark Tower mistake of, like, there's a trick that writers do where you can hint at something and the reader fills in the gaps, and you can just kind of put your feet up. And Stephen King's Dark Tower was great at that. But when it came to like pay the piper and actually explain what the fuck he was talking about, he really shit the bed pretty hard in the last couple of books. So Star Wars is always on the verge of doing that.
And I think in Disney's hands, where Disney is like, one of those more is more companies, they're probably looking at me and being like, okay, we have this cool character that is probably better left as just a cool character in shadows, his legend and stuff. Let's make a show around that, and that never ever works because it never lives up to the hype.
Because so many people have created their own backstory in their head, you're always going to be in conflict.
Jon Favreau has been really clever about towing that line between expanding the world but never quite contextualizing enough that we all think, this is bullshit. But when you bring back Boba Fett and now you've got to give him a personality, I think there's a reason we had 4 episodes of Boba Fett and then just moved swiftly back onto the adventures of the Mandalorian.
But it also comes down to that concept of like, some marketers going, oh, this character is popular. We need to see more of them, because it's like, I'm split. On the one hand, this week I really enjoy. I'm kind of impressed that they went there, because they could have easily just been like, it's like, oh, I'm looking for Luke Skywalker. He's not here. He's off planet. Instead, we got
the Thor excuse.
Instead, we got a half episode full of him. But at the same time, it's also kind of like it was a half episode that really didn't make me like Luke Skywalker more.
I was happy to see him again. I just, it was nice. It was like, what did Luke do after Return of the Jedi? Our first inclination of that, if you're not into the expanded universe stuff, was The Last Jedi, where he was like, oh, he's just a depressed prick making sarcastic Whedon-esque comments until he dies. Which was, I understand why people were quite depressed about it. It was an interesting take. But just seeing him like, you know what? I'm still the Luke you remember, and I'm going to try and be a Jedi. And I'm training Yoda now. Isn't that a fun reversal? It was fun.
It was fun. I enjoyed the last 2 episodes very much, but how, as a whole narrative, if you completely break and just Boba who in the Book of Boba Fett, how are they going to stick the landing when it was so jarring? And it also felt like you were talking about the lived-in quality. As soon as it was the Mandalorian on the screen, it looked like the production was better. The overall aesthetic was more consistent.
They were saving their money for that. That first, when the Mandalorian came in, he's on that ring world.
The ring world
and
was
the internals
stunning.
As well, just like the old cinematic vibe. But you're right. It's more like the prologue of Boba Fett. And you know what else? Again, talking about, I think I'm probably going to go where you thought I was going to go earlier, Rachel. Talking
With the
about
speeder bikes?
Not the speeder bike gang were fine. It's like, okay, they're like a biker band. I get that. The fucking scooter gang.
Exactly. They looked like they were on fucking Vespas that were too shiny and too chrome for the Star Wars universe.
Let's look at the youth culture of Star Wars. It's like, oh no, don't do that again. That was awful.
well, the thing is, like, I like, okay, so Marvel used to have a 2099 line that was supposed to be the Marvel Universe 100 years from now. Yes. And one of their things was Ghost Rider 2099, and they had that exact same gang in that comic, where it was basically essentially a dopey biker gang of kids who were like all about getting like artificial enhancements and stuff, and it was bad in that comic. So the second I saw them, and I realized it was essentially the same concept, like, this is just. I kind of mentally tuned out whenever they were on the screen.
It really felt to me like somebody said, okay, right, well, they get themselves modded with mechanical parts. Oh, we can call them mods. Oh, we can do a Quadrophenia shtick, but not commit to it in any way, just visually. And it's like, no, that's not. Somebody sent a tweet around us saying, like, and it was quite divisive, because everything on the fucking internet is quite divisive now. And just a little snapshot of them on their brightly coloured scooters wearing mod clothes, like neatly pressed stuff, and saying, this isn't Star Wars. And everybody was like, how dare you not allow Star Wars to grow? This is exactly what Tatooine youth would do. But no, it's right. It wasn't fucking Star Wars at all. It looked weird.
The sand should have worn if they wanted to have bright colors and it was streaky and had like sand buffering on the edges just to give it that. I mean, everything in Star Wars that is not the High Republic looks fucked up. It looks lived in.
Yeah.
If they had just done that, we wouldn't be complaining.
You can't afford water, but you can afford wax for that ridiculous scooter you've got.
It must be from those gourds.
And another thing is, I don't want somebody to walk into a bar on Tatooine and have fucking techno playing. All I want to see in any Star Wars scene is those ridiculous butt-headed flute-playing aliens playing a ridiculous butt-head flute song. I don't want...
I love that song.
Yes, that's all I want, all the time. Don't give me none of this hip.
They killed them.
They've got a whole planet of them, Rick. They all play the flute. They import them when they need them.
Oh, poor Max Rebo.
They are a whole race. I can't remember the name of them, but they are a planet. I don't know if all of them are... They are not butthead flute players.
But yeah, I thought that was a misstep, but I don't know, it was one episode. I can have a look at it. I did like the fact that the mod squad tried to take on the Gladiator Chewbacca dude, who was fucking awesome, and just got their asses handed to them. I was like, I would have liked it a lot more if it had ripped their arms off, but that didn't happen. I can't have everything I want.
Yeah, I would say two wins there. I like Ming-Na Wen's character.
Who's getting nothing to do, let's be real. I'm getting a little angry about that too. That's my other rage.
And yes, bad, like pissed off Chewbacca.
I loved how they had the pissed off
Black
Gladiator
Chrysanthemum.
Chewbacca who lost the fight to those mods. And then the next time we see him, he's just sitting in a nightclub and just tears apart a bunch of aliens because he's angry. And I'm thinking, yeah, you're right. You should be angry because you lost to those badly dressed idiots. And I'm going to watch you tear apart this alien. This is cathartic for you. It's cathartic for me. It feels like Star Wars again.
It was pleasant. I did like Jennifer Beals. I liked seeing the Twi'leks actually get some lines since they're so prominent in a lot of the extended universe. It was nice to see more of them in the main storyline.
Are you talking about the people with the two dicks on their heads?
Oh God.
The dick-headed people from the
Everything a
dickhead
dick to
planets. Rachel, I think you'll find.
The Bith are the butt-headed ones, in case you want to know. The Twi'leks are the ones with the two tentacles.
Oh, they should get those guys together.
This is me talking. I don't think those look like dicks on their head.
Tentacles.
They look like whale dicks.
Yeah.
They do not look like whale dicks.
Oh God, now I won't be able to unsee that.
Maybe.
Now I have to Google whale dicks. Thank you, Rachel.
Oh God.
Whale dicks. Okay, blue whale penis. You have a picture? Oh, there's a fossilized one. There's just a picture of a
They're
whale.
called, I think,
Wikipedia.
Leku.
Show me a dick. I can take it. Yeah, maybe I couldn't take that.
These aliens were born with two whale dicks on their heads.
They are not whale
We can
dicks.
never go near the ocean. It's why not? Don't ask.
Okay, all right. Well, I've seen enough whale penis now to know that I feel justified in my description. I feel that I'm vindicated, and now I have an interesting search history too.
They're called Leku, and they're not whale dicks.
Getting back to Fennec Shan, Ming-Na Wen's character, it strikes me. It almost strikes me as like she shows up every week on the set, doesn't have a script, and her job is basically just to just call out every stupid idea that Boba Fett has.
I feel bad for her. She is the competent woman surrounded by idiots who keep making things worse. Okay,
isn't that a fucking
I do feel for
tired
her.
trope by now? You're complaining about the Tusken Raiders getting fridged, but the joyless woman who's just there to pick up after the man-child lead is also a trope.
I don't know what you're talking about as I try to steer us back on course for the rest of this podcast.
You punched us straight into Pokemon sex, Rachel. Let's not get too on our high horse there, or whatever Pokemon you're currently
It's a high
riding.
bantha. Let's be thematic here.
You just stepped on my Pokemon sex joke there.
I did. On purpose.
It's terrible.
Like a mythosaur.
What mythosaur is that a Pokemon or a Star Wars creature?
That is a Star Wars creature. It's what the skull is of the Mandalorian.
Whale dick unheaded you, I choose you.
They're called Leku. They are not whale penises. But no, I really wish they gave me
Now
no
I have to
win.
Google whale.
Oh, how many times can we make Steve Google whale penises in a single evening?
Well, 2 is like one more than a usual podcast, so this is...
Do you mean one is usual?
Yeah, normally I just Google whale penises just to kind of get in the vibe for the podcast.
Why don't you do duck penises instead? They're far more interesting.
I don't know, on a cosmic scale.
Okay.
Oh, no, they are.
I can never remember her name. The Jedi with the two whale dicks on her head.
That's Ahsoka. Those are called Leku. She's
Okay.
a
She's not a Twilight. She's something else.
Her cameo this week kind of felt like just that. I showed up, I put on makeup, and didn't really actually have a reason to be on the show.
She just kind of turned up and she was being enigmatic.
But I like that she was there because it's once more like every time you're in an Avengers side movie, you always have to explain why they're not there. It was just nice. You could go to like the one Jedi planet in the damn universe and they were all there. The recent ex-Jedi, the only Jedi teaching people, and the baby Jedi. Like, they were all there, and I liked that.
It's convenient, it's true.
I think it was to sort of go, yeah, we're just gonna have it and do it. Togruta, that's what they are, not Tortuga. That's turtle in Spanish. And now you're probably gonna look up turtle dicks.
But in Spanish, well, maybe after the podcast. I can only do so much at the same time, and one of my hands is already occupied.
Good to know.
Anyway, yeah, the Jedi lady cameo. I did feel like she was just there to be smug and a Jedi at the Mandalorian for a while.
Well, she's not a Jedi. She left the Jedi Order, and I think they also needed to set it up because, okay, next big spoiler, Grogu was offered a choice at the end of the last episode. He can either take the little teeny tiny adorable chainmail shirt that I am sure Joe will squeal over, or he can take Yoda's lightsaber.
And let me just tell you, what a dick Luke Skywalker. Now I understand. Now I have all the sympathy in the world for, like, you know, for Ben Solo basically saying, I'm going to burn this place down, because apparently Luke was a dick the entire time. Well, you can have clean underwear, or you can have rice, or you can have dinner, but you can't have both.
It does feel like they're kind of foreshadowing the dick moves.
Well, come on, this is par for the course in Jedi training. This is Yoda saying, right, you need to live on my swamp planet while I torment you. Also, your friends are dying, but you can't do anything about it.
Because they're supposed to let go of attachment, which is highlighting that the Jedi are kind of dicks. The more I look at it, it's like, there needs to be a third. And that's what Ahsoka is. She left the Jedi because she thought they were being dicks. And so she got kicked out, and basically after she saved the day, they asked her back, and she's like, see ya, you didn't want me, and you didn't believe me.
So now she's just hanging around being smug at people who don't know she's not a Jedi. And I noticed she wasn't in a hurry to tell the Mandalorian that she wasn't actually a Jedi. She would have kept that to herself.
How do you explain that shit?
Yeah, I would know. The first thing I would have said would be like, oh no, you can't see because Master Luke is training you. Also, feel free to ignore me because I'm not a Jedi.
Yeah. God, I would love to see Grogu's first speaking part should have been at the end there where he's like, it's like you can wear this shirt and be a Mandalorian, or you could take this lightsaber and be a Jedi. Well, why can't I be a smart Jedi and wear armor so I don't die like all the rest of you dumb fucks?
It's like, dude, why don't you just teach me how to make it rain frogs and get out of my life?
But they might be setting it up that the reason why Grogu didn't die when Ben Solo went all mental and killed all the other Padawans is he wasn't there. And he might be off with Ahsoka, because Ahsoka wouldn't train him because
she's too cool.
She wanted to make sure he had the best chance of being a Jedi. But if he leaves, she might train him later so he can have a little bit of balance.
Oh, no. See, I'm imagining different. I'm pretty sure that that Grogu grew up to become one of the Knights of Ren, because when Ben Solo turned, he was just like, yeah, you're right, this guy is a dick. Let's go.
I think everybody at this point is having much more fun than they did in the last 3 Star Wars movies, and we should just
it is true.
Accept that those movies probably don't happen.
All right, I'm about to say the words you're gonna hate, and
I enjoyed those.
Okay, we have Bob. Damn it, Bob!
You only enjoy.
You know how much I bitch and moan about time travel and reboots and erasing things and doing them over. I don't have quite the vitriol that some of Star Wars fans do. I do get that the new movies tried to do some things. Did they succeed? I don't think so, but I'm not going to criticize them for trying. I think it was just lack of direction and messiness.
Hello, I am purple-haired Laura Dern, and I have been introduced just to die stupidly later.
Well, yeah, she's a woman in sci-fi. That's all we do. We die or we're competent and quiet. or
just
sarcastic.
know better than everybody else, even though you're not actually a Jedi. And people say like, "Oh well, we can't criticize the new trilogy." Yes, we can. They're all millionaires. I will criticize the fuck out of them.
I can criticize them. I just don't turn into a massive anger troll online.
I will, because that is the purpose of this podcast. If I'm not venting
I will be your
my
counterpoint
bile
and
into people's ear holes, then
use my yellow lightsaber.
I'm
to
just going to
smite
go
you.
look at whale dicks.
I know. While you're looking at whale dicks, I will finish my point. I'm kind of like, if they did, because they do have sort of a time travel mechanic in Star Wars. If they did it and did like they did with Star Trek and booted an alternate universe and gave us new movies, I wouldn't necessarily complain.
Yeah.
Because it's not even Last Jedi. That's not the one that makes me angry. It's actually Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, Rise of Skywalker is horrible because it is edited
messy.
so fucking badly. Everything about it is, why does this happen? Well, it's in the book. I don't care about it in the book. I ain't reading the book. Tell me in the movie.
It's also frustrating because it just ends with basically the patriarchy winning, and I'm pissed off. And Leia sort of getting forgotten. It's like, why would she take the name Skywalker? And fucking Leia and Han did much more to train her and help her and all that. And it's
Jesus, that was your takeaway on that? I just thought it was because it was bad writing. Not
that was the
patriarchy.
last.
Yeah.
That was the last image that got me. So I got slammed with
You took
I
a
guess
man's name.
final
so it's
patriarchy pimp slap.
I see. You should have went for
It made me
Organa,
angry.
and then that terrible writing would have been excused.
It wouldn't. No.
it'd
It
still
wouldn't.
be
But
terrible.
that
The problem
no, it's
isn't
still
patriarchy
terrible.
with
But
this
it wouldn't
movie.
have
It's
the
just a bad
patriarchy pimp
movie.
slap. Yeah, It's like an add-on of suck. It's a suck microtransaction that I got slapped.
The
with.
problem with the Rise of Skywalker is they tried to
Is everything.
They try to merge 2 movies worth of storyline because they shat the bed with trying to upset expectations with the middle movie. They should have just ended it with the middle movie because they upset the expectations. It's fine. It's
I
good.
would have been fine if they had gone with that. They should have gone from the middle movie. Like, it really felt like J.J. Abrams' ego was determined to retcon and destroy as much as possible of what...
Oh, wait a minute. You didn't get that from the
Johnson did
middle
in the
movie,
middle.
that somebody's ego was determined to retcon and destroy the momentum, because that was the entire point of the movie.
But it was after that happened, it's like, oh, we're just going to do it again instead of accepting it and trying to move forward with the crap you were given.
Yeah, I will agree to it because it's one of those, okay, it's like we're all acting like, okay, like Last Jedi was made in a vacuum. It wasn't. You guys knew what the movie was gonna be,
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it did feel like it was made in a vacuum because at the end of it, I just thought, well, that's like kind of a nice place to leave it, I guess, if that's where you want to leave it. The Jedi Order's pretty much destroyed, but there's new kids coming up with Force powers. No one really gives a shit about whether Kylo Ren and Rey get it on because that would be weird now. But then they're just like, no.
I didn't mind that part. I was a Reylo stan, okay? I admit it.
Really? I mean, that's...
Yes, I was. I'm sorry. Look,
Okay,
I had a moment of
about
weakness. I
fucking
didn't mind that part.
patriarchy at the end of... No, you know what? Never mind.
Because a woman can have a relationship and a career, okay?
Yeah, Rachel was lost when Adam Driver took off his shirt.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
We're just here to confuse you, Bob.
All right, this is what we get for
Go back
talking
to,
about those
to
movies.
whale dicks and Pokemon sex.
Those movies that didn't happen in the Star Wars timeline.
I really hope... You know what's the most frustrating thing? Is that watching those 3 movies made me go back and go, no matter what you think of the prequels and how terrible they were in parts, at least they were cohesively terrible from start to finish.
Ooh.
Nope.
No, plus point in the Book of Boba Fett. They made one of those shitty Naboo starfighters look pretty cool.
They did. I did like... Because it was always one that had a really cool... I always liked the design of it, but I hated the paint job.
I was really hoping, not the Mandalorian, but maybe that grizzled old woman character, just putting the finishing touches on that and just went, now this is pod racing. And it wouldn't have to make sense. because the original line didn't make sense. But it would have warmed my heart.
That did warm my heart. The wizard line, I enjoyed that.
As he was taking her for that thing for the first like drive, she should, the mechanic should have been like, what? No yippee.
And she should have like had to get out of trouble. He should have went, I'm just going to push this button that automatically does everything I need the movie to do. And that would have been a true Naboo Starfighter.
Like, that whole episode, I realized 10 minutes in, I didn't care instant about Boba Fett because I was watching the badassness of the armorer who had no jetpack fighting on this really narrow gangplank, and that's what hit me. It's like, she's that badass. All the other guys had jetpacks. She just stands there and is like, I'm still going to fight you on this tiny narrow catwalk. You might knock me off. No, you won't. Episodes
3 and 4, I had to rewatch the second half because I fell asleep both times during that, and the last 2 episodes I did not.
You know what the armorer's real power was, though?
The power of friendship?
Not being a judgmental bitch. So, you just survived. You just survived a fight to the death. But tell me, did you ever take your helmet off? You disqualified then, mate. Sorry. Jesus.
I mean, you give them credit. At least they're consistent, and they've set up the little side quest. You know that he's going to have to go through the mines of Mandalore.
God, I would have loved the Mando to just be like, the fuck does that have to do with anything?
I reckon when the Mandalorian leaves that room, they just instantly take their helmets off and go, fuck, he's gone. I can breathe again.
It's like, how long can we keep him going?
I can't believe that idiot listened again.
So he doesn't take his helmet off. How does he eat? What a wanker. Sitting there eating his meals through a straw. What a doof.
Oh, God. You know what we need? We need a Mandalorian sex scene where they both have their helmets on and they're just clanking together.
This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way.
I'll show you my dark saber, bitch.
Jeez.
Just saying. Hey. I also love the fact that it was the first time in a long time I saw clunky, awful lightsaber fighting since the original trilogy, and it was so... They've always been so polished and bouncy.
Yeah.
It was nice to see it back to, like, fighting.
It's like watching early Rocky movies when they're clearly not boxing properly, but it works for the scene. It works for the emotional tone. If you look at Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader hammering the shit out of each other with lightsabers in Return of the Jedi, it works. It doesn't matter it's not polished and they're not backflipping and doing choreography. It just emotionally works for the scene.
However, Obi-Wan and Darth Vader.
Well, that worked for having a 70-year-old man on set.
They did. They look like old farts. We're like, fuck, we've done this so many times at this point. Let's just...
I'm so tired.
Let's half-ass
You know what?
this.
I've just got to evaporate. See ya. It was the most believable part of the trilogy.
It was.
I'm an old man. Goodbye.
If you strike me down, then we don't have to do this anymore.
You do realize that all this Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett are leading up to Obi-Wan. So I am a little intrigued as seeing, it's going to be more Tatooine. More Tatooine.
Why do they love Tatooine? I mean, cheap. I understand that. Yeah, I was going to say, I understand that, like, sand is relatively cheap,
Tunisian tax
I like the fact that they're just sort of transposing stories onto a Western. Because it has worked. It very much worked for The Mandalorian. I don't think it works as much for Boba Fett because they're trying to tell a crime story and it's not the same thing. But you know what? As much as I can sit here and pick apart Boba Fett and the Book of Boba Fett, it's fine. It's all right. It's good. It's still better than... You got to remember the success rate for Star Wars movies. If you include like the Ewok movies and the holiday special, it's less than 50%. There are like maybe 1 in 3 Star Wars movies is inarguably great.
Yeah, there is no doubt like what the choice would be if somebody said you have to watch Book of Boba Fett again or watch Phantom Menace again.
Yeah.
That's not even on the same galaxy.
And there's been fun parts. The train robbery bit was fun.
It's fun. It's weird. It's like they literally just dropped every narrative thread and went off and told a side story right in the middle. Like, I could get it if it's like a 12-episode season and this is sort of an interlude and it's all going to build up, but how on earth are they going to have enough time to make a satisfying ending?
Yeah, like at this point, it almost feels like the final episode will start and they're all like just sitting there relaxing and be like, wow, I'm sure glad Luke Skywalker showed up and killed all those Pike guys for us.
And this is, this is not unique to the Book of Boba Fett. Season 2 of Mandalorian did have a bit of tentpole-itis when it came to setting up side stories, but I don't know. I like the fact that they brought back Cobb Vanth. I like the fact that they had the guts to bring back Luke Skywalker. That could have went ridiculously bad, but it didn't. It was fine. And I kind of like that narrative shift to like, oh yeah, remember the Mandalorian? We're tired of talking about Boba Fett now. I don't know. It did not work. I enjoyed it a lot more.
I enjoy it in the moment. It's just as a writer, I'm like, how the hell are they going to get themselves out of this corner they've put themselves in?
I don't know. I got faith. I think they'll land it.
I could be pleasantly surprised.
I will admit, I was pretty impressed with the de-aging of Mark Hamill there. Because
it was way better.
Yeah, I was like,
Boba Fett.
This looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, it was better. The voice was, it was good.
I think they've had more time to refine the technology, and it did help that it was outside, natural light. They could cut the scenes so you had less direct on the face, and that really helped.
Nice little touches of him just walking along with Grogu and just kind of lifting him up with the Force as they walked along.
Oh,
I
love that part.
It was nice having him on his backpack. I don't know. Jon Favreau has done the right. People say fan service these days like it's a fucking bad thing because the internet is
I thought it was a good thing.
Ridiculously
In this
tribalized.
Case.
Yeah, but it is a good thing. It's like going back to Tatooine, I don't need severe member berries bouncing in my face. I don't need, you remember this? But I do want to revisit the world and revisit the characters. And I think he's found a very good balance.
I think we're just waiting to see, does he stick the landing in a way that doesn't infuriate? Because if it ends with just, I have this horrible feeling because they brought in Cad Bane, which I will admit at the time, as a person who loves the Clone Wars and Rebels TV series, I went, oh, it's Cad fucking Bane, and went mental.
Well, I love the fact that I know shit all about that character because I don't do the extended universe stuff. But he still made a very cool entrance, and you instantly understood what he was.
He's amazing as a character.
Yeah.
Because he's a Western
and
archetype, and they introduced him as just a black hat against a white hat Western character. It's like, you instantly understand it, and he's just a cool looking dude, so...
He's a really cool character. He was the Boba Fett kind of the universe before Boba Fett, and he's why Boba Fett has the dent in his helmet. So they have met before. There's a lot of history between them.
See, well, the thing is, he's got to land that without me giving a shit about that, because I do not.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm afraid of. Is it
40 minutes of Boba Fett in the back of the tank, hanging out with the sand people, and this guy just walks up and clunks him on the head.
I remember when you put that dent in my helmet. Shut up, Boba Fett. Wake up and do something interesting. But all you needed was Timothy Olyphant as that pretty cool Cobb Vanth character. Established that he's cool again. We know him from Justified.
It's so nice to have another extended universe character brought in.
And then getting outshot by the newcomer. That's
Timothy Olyphant was in this?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm almost interested.
He's really good too. It's one of Chuck Wendig's Star Wars characters from his books. He's
I don't give a fuck. He's not. He's really good. Yeah, I know.
Look, I'd love to get into the extended use. I know it must add a layer of satisfaction to those who follow it, but
there was squee. There was definite squee. I'm like, oh my god, they're not going to do Cad Bane. Oh my god, it's Cad Bane. I don't know why I was more excited about that than seeing fucking Luke Skywalker again, but they just did the visual of him. It was so classic Western, and it warmed my heart. And you're right, even if you didn't know who the character was, because of the aesthetic, because of the music, because of the way he was shot, you knew instantly, this is a bad guy.
Yeah.
And they used the same voice actor from the Clone Wars, which was very nice.
I don't care about the God, I just want this thing to work on its own. To me, it's probably the truest continuation of the original trilogy. The tone and the vibe of the original trilogy there has been. And that's all I want it to do. I just want to keep on surfing that wave.
It feels a lot, and I know it takes place much closer to it, but it feels like a continuation from Return of the Jedi, whereas, like, even The Force Awakens, it was like, what the fuck happened? It's only been 20 years. It's like completely different.
I mean, to be fair, if you looked at New York in the 80s versus the 1950s, it's different.
But even, it's not just the locale, it's not just the timeline, it is very much the vibe. I think that's why a lot of people are upset by the Vespa scooter people. It was a very kind of clunky departure from an established vibe. And that's all I'm interested in. If they can keep that vibe going, I'll take a few Duff episodes now and then and a few Duff storylines. I've done it for lots of other things, Justified, great, but not always great. Breaking Bad, great, not always great. But as long as you keep that vibe going, it's cool.
But what do you think, how would you feel if and this is what I was going for when they said, they introduced Cad Bane. If the next episode is basically just the gunfight, the rematch, and they're either going to kill an extended universe character or they're going to kill Boba Fett, or have a cliffhanger of, is one of them dead? Like, if they just leave it on a harsh comic book style cliffhanger, will the whole series narrative feel frustrating to you, or will it work?
It's kind of already frustrating. I mean, at this point, it's like, have the last episode just narrated by the Sand People, just at one of them staring into the screen going for like 30 minutes.
You know what, you talk about frustrating, but everybody thought Boba Fett was cool as fuck, even though he was only on scene for like 10 minutes and spoke one line. And then he died the stupidest death possible. And we didn't stop talking about him for 30 years. So,
yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, it's like I say, if they land the vibe, if they make it cool enough, the things like the Vespa scooter people, the things like the clunky pace, the things that, like, Boba Fett spends way too long in that bag to tank. I don't know. I think they're going to pale in comparison to the good we take away from it. That's my optimistic take on where we're going with this.
Yeah. I think this is one of those cases where, like I would have been fine with this character showing up in Mandalorian, getting his armor back, and be like, "Hey, Boba Fett's still alive. I wonder what he's going to be up to." And I would have been perfectly fine with just leaving that mystery of, I guess he's going back to being the most badass bounty hunter in the planet.
Do you think it would work better if they had flipped the narrative and had 4 episodes of The Mandalorian and then sort of had just 2 episodes following Fennec Shand and Boba Fett?
I don't think that would have worked at all. What I'm saying is, we met Fennec Shand, we met Boba Fett, and in The Mandalorian, and if they walked away just with that whole, okay, we know they're out there, we know they're doing something, but we don't know what, I would have been okay with that, because it lives up to the whole legend of Boba Fett, because he got his armor back, we know he's out there, and now we can imagine all the badass stuff he's doing, as opposed to lying in the back to tank.
So less is, I do think he is a less is more character.
Yes. He's like the Jaws of Star Wars, where like the less you see of the shark, the more convincing the shark is.
Yeah. I would have liked to just see like maybe 3 solid episodes of him being trapped in the Sarlacc.
Yeah, why didn't they have his it would have been cool if they had sort of had flashbacks to his life while being digested, like he was hallucinating. And you weren't sure what was happening? Just
crawling through the guts of this awful Lovecraftian creature. That would have been pretty cool. But then again,
disgusting.
8-year-olds need to watch this. So.
But instead, they almost immediately ruined it. It's like, oh, he got out of the Sarlacc pit. That's awesome. And got mugged by Jawas.
He got mugged by Jawas.
There's just a few moments where it's like, how is Boba Fett one of the most feared bounty hunters in the galaxy? He was knocked into his supposed death by a blind man and then got mugged by Jawas.
You know what? I after watching this show, unfortunately, I've come to the conclusion that Boba Fett was the most badass bounty hunter on the planet, because every bar he went into, he was like, "You hear about that Boba Fett guy? He's a badass."
sorry, Rick, I thought you were going to go a different way there, but here's my theory. In Return of the Jedi, he'd been partying pretty hard for 24 hours. He just might have been as hungover to fuck when he was fighting around the Sarlacc pit there. So, I'll give him that one. I've been there. I know what it's like.
So your whole theory boils down to he was just pissed?
Yeah.
And thus easy to take?
That checks out. Yeah, you're the most badass man in the universe. You spend 24 hours partying at Jabba's planet with those space sex workers. Listen to that sweet elephant on the keyboard. Yeah, you're not going to be at your best the next day.
I don't know what a Sarlacc digestive system is like, but he might have been loosened up or something.
The blood alcohol content of Boba Fett was so much the Sarlacc just threw up. Now there's a badass.
That is pretty badass. But now, after all of this, Bevan, please share your in-depth analysis of the Book of Boba Fett, since I'm sure you have seen all of it.
I think I already have.
Yeah, I think you just did, didn't you?
Yeah.
Sarlacc digestive juices.
It's kind of his area of expertise.
Yeah. You know.
I did like seeing that stormtrooper being digested, and that was pretty grim.
Yeah, and then that was a great scene, because you saw him steal, like, the oxygen off the dying stormtrooper to get his own ass out of there. So, that was cool.
Yeah, quick thinking. For a guy who was so obviously hungover.
See, that would have been better if he climbed out of there all badass, like, but he's still drunk off his ass. So the job was just be like, hey, so, want to play a game of cards? He winds up walking naked home from the desert because he just, like, didn't know any better.
He just carries on the party, and then he just wakes up the next day like, where the fuck is my armor? Why have I had sex with a Jawa, which apparently is a thing in this universe?
It is apparently a thing. It was established as canon.
Very fairy. That's ruined Jawas for me a bit now. I always thought they were smooth.
The fact that Jawas have sex? Like,
no.
That's where you draw the line in kink shame?
The fact that they're not smooth. I thought they were smooth and scaly, like some kind of dark reptile.
We needed a line there where she was like, yeah, Jawas might be 3 feet tall, but 2.5 of it is dick.
And on that note, what could we possibly say to top that mental image of furry 2 feet of Jawa penis? Do you have anything to add?
It's got the girth of a can of beans.
Yes. So I think
and the
that would be
texture of
our
softened
podcast.
toast.
That sounds like a great place for us to call it an evening.
And if you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe and all that stuff. And you don't have to tell us if you do anything with either Pokemon or beans.
But you
please.
can, if you like, in the comments section.
Exactly.
It's monitored by the FBI.
You take the can, you dip the toast in the beans and wrap it around the can.
2 feet of beans and dickachew, I choose you.
Am I right, Rachel?
That sounds like the perfect point to say good night.
Bye.
Somebody's about to have a good
Bye.
night. All right, goodbye.